All right, now we're looking at Mr. Gearding's team. Let's see how it goes. Mr. Gearding. Mr. Gearding. All right, fellas. Um, God damn it. I forgot how he got Kyle Pitts. Oh, wait. Kyle had the 2 pick. He traded back for Kyle Pitts. That was a bad trade. I'm sorry, Kyle. But that's besides the point. Let's start at your bench because that's what I've been doing, I think. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing really with YouTube. His taxi squad, I kind of fuck with it. Jacob Harris is very athletic, and I believe so, right? Yeah, Jacob Harris is very athletic and could be a tight end that is relevant. Josh Palmer, here, you might want to move him to your not taxi squad, Kyle, if you have room. Josh Palmer has an opportunity to produce year one. So I would he on your taxi squad, he's the one that I would most likely call up first. Just looking at this team, Jared Dokes is a very Jarrett. I think his name is Jarrett, right? Yeah, Jarrett Dokes. He's big and fast, and that's what you want in college. Wasn't particularly productive, but he wasn't particularly not productive. He's a very interesting candidate. Javon Hawkins probably not gonna do anything because he's a UDFA, but he's a good stash for his Philip Lindsay S profile. Okay, carrying on to the bench. Let's see what's going on here. We got Robert Tanyan, Tyler Higbee, Eric Ebron, Nico Collins. I see no cuttable players with the exception of Damian Williams. Okay, Daryl. Oh, it's Daryl. Oh, okay, yes. Um, I'd probably cut Daryl for Marcus Callaway, Michael Strahan, one of the guys I've been recommending, Zach Davidson. But your bench looks very solid, and you actually have some talent on the bench that could be started. Like Chase Edmonds is startable, as is Melvin Gordon. Nico Collins could see something this year, and these two tight ends are very solid as well. So your bench is very solid, and I love all the upside you have here with KJ Hamler and Nico Collins, Gabriel Davis. Lots of high upside players on your bench here. Now let's move to your starters and see what's going on. Okay, you have Stafford, who's serviceable. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Javonte Williams, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley, Cortland Sutton. This is not a bad team, but it's not necessarily good. So you're looking at a middling tight end, a lower QB. Your running backs are they left something to be desired for right now, but they are. I'm very high in CEH. I wouldn't deal him, even though I'm gonna try to text you 1,000 times and ask him again. He's a prime buy right now. His opportunity share and expected points were that of an elite running back, and he was just a low end running back. So yes, he's very solid. Javonte Williams is going to be good, but not necessarily this year. I mean, I could see him be good, but nothing great. Godwin and Ridley, these guys are about at the apex of their value, and like Stick, I think these guys are going to be the key to your team. No, actually, I lied. Your running backs are going to be are going to be the key to your team because Godwin and Ridley are going to be solid. As is Pitts, but if your running backs aren't playing above, oh my god, my cat aren't paying above their um, expected points, it's going to be hard for you to compete. Really, I mean, your quarterback isn't that elite. Your tight end isn't necessarily elite. Your running backs aren't necessarily elite. Your receivers are very solid. I love Deontay Johnson and Cortland Sutton is solid, and you have good depth, but your running backs are going to be a bit of a struggle. You have a nice balance between veterans and youth. I like that, but you're kind of stuck like Harris's team had veterans and youth, and he was definitely going to compete. But for you, you kind of have veterans and youth, and you're not really competing nor rebuilding. You're kind of in the middle. I could see this team winning like half its games, but not necessarily competing as is right now, which is you could be in worse places, you know. Um, I would I don't necessarily know if I would go up or down here. If you can get off of Ridley at peak value or Godwin for younger players, I would do that. Or if you can get off of Javonte Williams and Cortland Sutton for older players, I would do that. But right now, it's going to be hard for you to win, given like your talent isn't really up to standard right now to win. But I mean, you have a mix of both old and young, so you're not really rebuilding nor are you contending. But if you try to trade Devontae and Cortland Sutton or like if you package up a couple of your younger players and throw in some of your bench pieces, like you know, um, a Paris Campbell. If you say, hey, Paris Campbell and Javante Williams, you package them up and you go and get um, an Austin Eckler. I'm not saying Stick would do that, but like if you did that, I could say, okay, now you're ready to compete and you're gonna go for it because that makes sense. Or if you wanted to say, okay, Calvin Ridley, give me a 2022 first, a 2023 first, and whatever for Calvin Ridley, I would do that as well. But as your team is currently constructed, it's going to be hard for you to compete or rebuild because you're kind of in the middling ground of not having enough talent to compete, but too talented to rebuild, and you're young and old. You have a good mix of both. But I do really, really, really like your bench. It is very solid with lots of high upside players, and your taxi squad is also solid. Like I was saying, I would probably promote Josh Palmer first because he will compete for snaps very early on. But once again, like I was saying, I would I would probably mess around with looking at Javante, either moving guys like Javante and Deontay, or moving guys like Edmonds and Ridley and Godwin, and either getting older or younger depending on on who you're moving. Because right now you're kind of in the middle ground, and I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything, but I am. Just kidding. No, I don't know. Like that's just my advice. It just makes sense to me looking at your team objectively. So yeah, yeah. Have fun in college, Mr. Geary.